Stars at Todmorden High School.
Hello and welcome to our short yet informative video about STARS for Year 7 to 9. As you may or may not know, the national curriculum levels were removed from tracking progress 3 years ago. Since then, we've been working on how to align our tracking system to the new GCSE grades.
Excuse me, Miss Coates, please could you tell me more about these new GCSE grades? As I got letter grades and I'm unsure what's good or bad or even expected with the new 1 to 9.
Yeah, no problem. So basically the grades go from grade 1 to 9, where grade 1 is the lowest and grade 9 is the highest.
Right.
And a grade U would be below that grade 1.
Ah, right, I see.
So grade 9 is the highest, and about a couple of percent of each GCSE cohort would achieve that grade 9. We did have grade 9s last year in a number of subjects. So a grade C would have been considered what our old sort of pass rate is. That's now a grade 4, and that's considered a standard pass. Now, this is what the bit can be slightly confusing, and it does vary from colleges to universities. So a standard pass is a grade 4, and a strong pass is a grade 5.
Right, okay.
So there's two kind of pass levels. So if you're looking at your different providers and things, that will kind of be a bit more information around that. So the lowest grade is a grade 1, and then the highest grade is a grade 9. And a standard pass would be a grade 4, and a strong pass would be a grade 5.
Brilliant. I'm assuming the most important thing for me to do as a parent is to look at those post-16 providers that my son or daughter might be interested in and look at what their entry requirements would be around the grades that they need to achieve.
Yeah, most definitely. And in order to support this, we're putting quite a lot of work into improving our careers provision in the school. So for example, in the summer there'll be a careers fair for all the students in year 7 to 11. Obviously year 11 will have left us by then, but they're welcome to come back if they need any additional support. Also parents and carers will be invited into that. And there'll be local post-16 providers and some post-18, so universities and apprenticeship providers. So you can start to think of what your grades are suggesting you're going to go and achieve and what courses you could look at.
Excellent, lovely. So the report my children have brought home this time, the STARS report, it looks like they've been given a group. So some of them have been popped into excelling, developing, securing or foundation. Can you tell me a little bit more about that, please?
Yes, that's right. We've been giving children based on their Key Stage 2 SATs. Now, we have used the Key Stage 2 SATs because that's the measure that's recognised as having a really strong correlation with how they've done on their SATs and how they do at GCSE. Okay. It's proven nationally and across the school and across cohorts. Students who do well at their SATs tend to do well at their GCSEs, but there are always students who buck that trend. So we do get students that have, for example, they may have not done so well on their SATs for whatever reason, but actually they do fantastic on their GCSEs. So we include this data on your report to give you a guide, but it's by no mean a limit. Excellent. And that's why you will find that there are no target grades on your report, because again, we don't want to set a limit on what they can achieve. We include the Key Stage 2 data as a guide, but we put it on there to give some information, but it's not a limit in what they can achieve in any way at all.
Okay, excellent, lovely. So my daughter Dasha, who was grouped at Threshold Developing based on Key Stage 2 and is still working there, should be looking to achieve at least a grade 5 as she goes on to GCSE.
So students who've got an attitude to learning grade 1 and are working at the stage developing do go on and achieve grade 5. So very typically that's what we would suggest, that's what our data in the past has shown. Particularly attitude to learning 2 you see slightly less, and if a child has attitude to learning grade 3 or 4 they tend to make significantly less progress. So the biggest thing we can talk about when we're looking at improving grades would be about improving their attitude to learning.
Right, okay, that explains why my daughter Dancer has slipped from excelling based on Key Stage 2 to currently working within developing, as her attitude to learning is A3 in many subjects.
Yeah, so that would be a very strong correlation. So if your child's thinking A3 or A4, there will be a reason next to it, so a justification, so it might be down to attendance or homework or behaviour, so it gives a little, just a good short statement to explain why they've been given that attitude to learning.
Fantastic. Now, what about my son Prancer? He's excelling Threshold and is also working at excelling in almost all subjects, apart from art, where he's foundation, and yet he's got an attitude to learning of A1.
Yeah, so some students have different skill sets across different subjects. We find some of our students, and we do check this on when we review students' data. So some students, for example, do absolutely fantastic at maths, science, English, but they do just really struggle in art. Likewise, we have some students that have got grade 4s in art and grade 1 and are, sorry, when I say grade 4, I mean excelling. So they're excelling in art, whereas they may be finding it much more difficult in maths or science.
Ah, right, okay, I see. So what about my other son Vixen? He was grouped at securing, and yet with an attitude to learning of A3 he's still excelling in music.
We do have some students, and it's really interesting when we start to analyse this, that For example, some students they might have their music outside of school, they might have private lessons, or they may just have a real flair for that subject.
Right.
So despite not having the right attitude to learning, they still manage to go on and do extremely well. But what I would say, if their attitude to learning is 3 and they've still managed to get excelling, just think what they could get if their attitude to learning was 1.
Yeah,
They could be looking to get grade 9s. Rather
Yeah.
than a grade 7, they could be looking to get that grade 9.
Yeah, excellent, thank you, and I'll be sure to speak to him about that lack of effort.
Thank
Now, what about my twins, Comet and Cupid?
Mhm.
They struggled immensely through primary school and didn't reach the Key Stage 2 benchmark of 100 by a significant amount. They're working at foundation level. Does this mean, with an attitude to learning of A1, that they will absolutely get a 4 when they move on to GCSE?
So when we look at our previous year 11s that have shown attitude to learning 1 throughout, the vast majority, and that's nearly all of them, have managed to be able to go on and achieve grade 4s. There are some students that are on foundation and may well not go on and get grade 4s.
Right.
For example, we do have a number of students with SEND or particular learning difficulties, and for these students our SENCO has got additional tracking in place for them. We would hope they'd go on and achieve a grade 4, but we do know for some students it may not be possible. So again, I would encourage you to contact our SENCO if you'd like further information or that detail around further tracking.
Excellent, lovely, thank you. And finally, my youngest 2 children, Donna and Blitzen, are still at primary school. Will their progress be tracked in the same way when they come to Todmorden High School?
So we brought this system in. So we brought this new system in based on the government guidance. As we said before, they've removed levels. Obviously, if the government guidance does change, we may change our system, and we're always open to feedback and review. And you'll have noticed that you've got a questionnaire in the green folder that's come home.
Right, yes.
So you've received the green folder with the assessments home. One of the key changes we made to the assessments system this time is that you'll get the green folder, you'll get all the assessments home, you'll get the details around strengths and the areas for development, and you'll get all that information to try and help you move forward. Could you remind me of the question again, please?
That my youngest 2 children, Donna and Blitzen, are still at primary school.
That's the one, thank you. Yes, so we're hoping to continue the system, but again, if there is government changes, we may change things. But the fact that you're getting the assessments home, you're getting the strengths, you're getting areas for development, we have no intention of changing that.
Okay.
We do have an intention of improving on it. So again, I'd really encourage you to fill in the questionnaire of any particular subjects or anything you found particularly helpful to give us information on how we can improve further.
Lovely, thank you very much. And thank you so much for watching. We hope you found the explanation helpful, but please do contact us if you have any further questions.
Thank you.